Welcome to the Recruit Pursuit podcast. I'm your host, Devin, joined by Evan
Evan
and,
Evan Wiederspoon over here, co-host.
co-host there. We got Josiah Pierre here with us. Josiah, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Congrats on the season this year. It was good. I know it was up and down, but how do you feel about it overall?
No, I felt pretty good about the season. Like things it was really just unfortunate how it turned out. I feel like we'll be even better next year.
Yeah, so you guys finished 9-8 in that 4A Westco conference. 18 points a game for you, 5 rebounds, shot it at 55% this year. A really good breakout year for you. What were kind of some stuff you felt that jolted you up this year, improvements over the summer, anything like that stood out to you for your season?
I was just like being able to get into a higher role because of last year. There was I was a sophomore on varsity and there was a lot of guys ahead of me. And then I was hurt like a day before our first game. So coming late into the roster was tough. There was like 7 seniors on the team. And then so when they all left, I was expected to play at a higher level.
How do you feel you adjusted yourself to do so? How do you feel, because if you came off the bench, I assume last year.
Mhm.
So how was, adjusting to, being, one of the main guys now?
The first few games, it was a little tough because it was just something I wasn't used to, being looked at to like go score the ball and stuff like that, like just a different role. And like just being like more expected of me, maybe like a little bit nervous at first and stuff like that. But as the season went on, I just kind of like learned how to just get better at producing more.
And what did that kind of last summer look like for you? Because last year in Washington you had like the COVID condensed season. It wasn't really like a full season, and then you were a sophomore. So what was the summer like with that quick turnaround and just coming right back into a full season?
It was kind of tough because like it just didn't feel right because my last year when I was a freshman, it was like, we had like a normal season, and then this year it felt like it was so short. It was because it was only 7 games. So that summer, I was just making sure that I was like getting to the weight room and going to all the open gym things that we did. And like when there was tournaments, I would try to go, but it was kind of tough because I had AAU as well. And like I was just making sure that I was getting shots up every day and just getting better.
And you played for Team LaVine for AAU last summer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that experience like for you? Did you guys travel a lot, or like where'd you play? Who'd you play against? Things like that.
Yeah, we were playing in like this kind of prep thing. So it was kind of tough because I was playing up a grade. So instead of playing 16U like I was supposed to play last year, I was playing 17U. And, you know, the teams that were out there were just like really big. Some of the players seemed like they're like 18, 19 years old they were playing against. And we were like, we traveled to Kansas as well as like California playing in tournaments like that. So it's pretty nice. And like recruitment was pretty well. It was like the first time I'd seen that many coaches in like a gym. So like when I went to this California tournament, it was like an NCAA viewing tournament. I think I saw like Cal Berkeley and like St. Mary's, like them like sitting down in chairs and stuff like that, just watching the games.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the the team this year, you guys kind of bowed out in a really, really tough Westco conference, especially that 4A. You got Glacier Peak, Jackson, Mariner, who was at the Dome this week. What's it like playing against those teams, on a weekly basis? Anyone in particular that you kind of get up for as in competition in that league?
One thing I would say was like it was tough in that they just had like a lot of great players, like Glacier Peak playing as Bobby Siebers, MVP of the league, just a great all-around player. And then like just learning how to try to do my thing, even when teams focus on me so much, was something I had to learn and get through. And like, playing against Mariner, it's the kind of guys that will like try to pressure you and things like that. So just learning how to handle pressure well. and to like just know that you still have to get to your spots and not to rush things.
You said you think the team can be stronger next year. You're not graduating a whole ton of guys. You're going to have a lot of same guys on the team next year for Kamiak. What do you think you guys need to do to maybe get off, a couple more league wins, really put some pressure on that league next year? What do you think is the next step for you guys?
One thing for sure is rebounding. Like, we're not the tallest team. A lot of those teams last year, like Glacier Peak, Mariner, and Jackson, they were all just taller than us and bigger than us, as well as Lake Stevens. So it was easier for them to rebound over us. So just getting bigger and stronger and being able to get rebounds and making it like, instead of like times where they get 2 shots every possession, they get only 1. And so it's just like, stopping them from getting as many shots as they usually did when we played them. And then I would say like, one of our tallest guys is leaving. So I know I need to take like responsibility and rebounding and like just getting more rebounds.
So you mentioned, rebounding for you specifically, you're going to focus on what else are you going to work to grow on for your game, this summer?
I would say definitely just being more athletic, getting bigger and stronger is like one thing I really want to do over the summer, as well as right now. And then I'd say my 3-point shooting wasn't that well. It was kind of tough because I didn't feel like I was playing off of a lot of guys where they were driving and they were kicking out to me shooting. It was usually like me driving and kicking out to a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's definitely like just 3-point shooting and stuff like that. And like, I think my efficiency was very well. It was very good. Just making sure maybe I'm taking more shots next year and being more aggressive when my team needs me to.
To add on as well, this year you averaged, 18 and 5, like Evan said. And, you mentioned that you had more pressure on you this year compared to last year. What do you think will change going to be next year? Because you'll be the senior, you'll definitely, be one of the top guys. How do you think that adjustment will be if the coaches, opposing coaches say put more pressure on you?
I think it would be better for my team just because of the fact that we'll have more shooters, just better shooters. So like me and coach were talking about like last year's or this past season, it was kind of tough because in our offense, like we weren't really that good at shooting. So like if it's kind of like an increase in shooting, like when I get downhill, if they're helping, it'll be easier because I can just kick out to a guy. And like if he's making like 30% of his threes, it's like I'm fine with that shot. So and then another thing would just be like getting bigger and stronger so that teams can't, I guess, stop me from getting to my spot. I felt like with Mariner, the first time I played them, I remember I played really well. And I had this guy who wasn't as tall as me on me. And I had like almost 30 points. I was shooting like 70% from the field. And then they put like their biggest guy on me. And I only had like 12 points. And I shot only like 10 shots. It was kind of because he's able to like push me around and not let me get to my spots. It was like the same thing with Glacier Peak. So it helped me like learn that I need to get bigger and stronger for the next season so that guys just can't stop me from getting to my spot.
And you kind of developed a nice little, at least it seemed like the couple of games that I was there watching you guys, it seemed like you and your point guard, Jayton Harda, had a nice little connection throughout the season. What does he bring to the table, and how did you guys kind of play off together this year to kind of make that combo work?
Yeah, just the thing with Jayton, he's a great facilitator. He sees the floor very well. So he's a guy that I know I could trust because I know what he's doing. He's usually right. And like, so I feel like this year, like next year, he'll be able to be more aggressive with like kind of like less guys be there to take all the shots, because like some of our guys who are leading in shot attempts, like I think 2 of them are seniors or 3 of them are seniors. So since they're all gone, I hope that Jason will get to like, feel more confident about shooting the ball. But he played his role really well with just facilitating and moving the ball around, and as well as running the point guard role.
So for you being a leader, how would you, help him become more confident, taking the shots and things like that?
I remember telling him, I think it was in a Jackson game where he had this one shot, but he wasn't looking for it. He's looking to pass. I told him that I was telling him just to take the shot. I'm fine with it if he misses, because I know it's a great shot. And it's like an efficient shot. I've seen him do it in practice all the time where he's able to shoot the ball really well and get to his spots and facilitate for others and play make. So I was just kind of like telling him that like this next year, he should really be able to do his thing, that he should not be unaggressive. Rather, he should be aggressive and not being afraid to take that shot even if he misses.
That's great.
And no, I kind of had one to kind of switch gears here too. Did you keep up with the state tournament at all this year? Do you have any like friends on any of those schools that you were rooting for, or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, I guess Mariner, some of those guys I played with and stuff like that. And there's some other guys who played in the Team LaVine program who were like on Curtis and then Mount Si. So I was kind of like just watching. I wasn't really rooting for like a specific team though.
What are some
those guys?
yeah,
Oh,
we got the
yeah,
same
yeah. Who are
question.
some of those guys that are on the Levine team with you that you saw out there?
They weren't necessarily on my team, but some guys I've seen like in the program and I practiced against them was Zoom Diallo from Curtis, then Quinn Patterson from Mount Si, as well as Cam Holloway. Those are some guys I was watching, and Zoom Diallo is just a great player. Gets downhill really well. So
I was
I like
actually
his
just
game a
about to
lot.
ask you about him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's one of the impressive 2024s, I think, in the whole state. What was it like? You said you practiced with him, right?
yeah.
What's it like, practicing with him or playing with him?
You just tell like he's locked in, and I feel like he's really confident in himself,
Mhm.
which is something I wanted to do. I felt like in past years I wasn't as confident in myself, but then I was watching him play, and like even if he made a mistake or he missed a shot, he was right on to the next play, and that was something I knew that I needed to work on. And then he's like a really good facilitator. You could tell he thinks like a play ahead. He's thinking really quickly and just how fast he passes the ball and things like that. And like he's like really strong and could play physical with other guys. So when I was watching, he was playing. The kid who was guarding him in practice was a little bit shorter than him. The kid was like probably like 5'11", Zoom was like 6'3", and like he's able to just like shoot over him and get to his spots. That's one thing like he does really well, like getting downhill. And like even as I watch him going on, like even against this Mount Si team where Mount Si has several guys above like 6'6", 6'7", and stuff like that, and nobody on Courage is over 6'4", but like he's still really good at just getting into the paint and finishing.
Mhm. To go back to your team and next year, how next year might look. Who else do you think will step up and take a bigger role, or who do you think might have a breakout year on your team?
Definitely Chance Laudenbach and Riley Weimer. Those are two kids because last year they started at one point when two of our seniors got COVID, and like we were kind of like moving the ball really well and like getting good shots. Riley and Chance are both guys who are great two-way players, like great 3-and-D players where they could play defense and hit their shots. So they weren't able to do as much last year just because of the fact that we had those four seniors guys who were in our starting lineup. So it was more like they're kind of like in a role behind them. But now like coaches like letting them know like we have this kind of core where it's like me, Riley, Chance, and Jason, where we're like kind of like the leaders of the team who are expected to do more next year.
Are you excited for that role, or to continue that role and have the four of you, lead next year?
Yeah, for sure. I think we could really make a run. Definitely get to state, and like I'm just excited to see where we can go as well as in the future. And then just making sure that we're working hard still, not just like saying all of this and then just not backing it up at all and not working hard during the summer, but just making sure we're still working hard because we know how it felt. Like all of us wanted to make the playoffs so bad this year, and we didn't. And so it's just like I know next year we're gonna be even more hungry for it.
And give us kind of a little sneak peek of what's going to happen for you in the spring, summer this year. What's kind of some of your plans? I mean, the high school season's wrapped up. When does your AAU program start up again, and what's that looking like?
Yeah, like I'm not sure so far like exactly what my team is. I know I'm on Team LaVine, but I just don't know like the roster yet since there was a tryout kind of recently. But I know we're starting as soon as February 14th, like that week we're starting. And like I'm pretty sure we'll be going to tournaments in California as well as Alabama. And depending on how we do it in those tournaments in California, we may be able to play on the Adidas circuit. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to, just making sure I step up in my role and like being more calm, I guess. 'Cause I feel like last year in AAU, I wasn't that confident. It was kind of tough. I wasn't like strong enough, I guess, to play AAU, as well as the fact that like I just felt kind of uncomfortable in that environment. But like I feel like this year I'll do definitely better. Just making sure that no matter like who's guarding me, I'm getting to my spots and I'm making plays for myself as well as my team.
And what's the environment of those camps and tournaments that you're going to, around the country? You said Alabama?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, what's kind of the difference, going stepping on a high school court and then, you know, in the summer you're in a kind of a different environment. Like you said earlier, a lot of coaches just show up to those events. What's the difference, and can you kind of explain what it's like, in those camps environments?
It's just like I guess more pressure. Like it's more legit, When I was in those tournaments, it was like back like when I was younger, I wouldn't be in tournaments like that. The tournaments weren't as high level. I remember one time, like my freshman year, so like my first year with Team LaVine, I believe I was in Utah and I was at this tournament and Mikey Williams was there and he's like ranked top
Yeah.
30. He was like, I think he was ranked like third at the time in my class. So it was just like knowing how legit this tournament was. And then like there's guys like Paulo Banchero there. So like it was just, I guess, not being exposed to that environment before where it was so legit, where like even that year I played against a player who had like several Division I offers. But I got to play against him. So it's just like it's just different. It's like this difference where you're really meeting guys that they talk about like are Division I and stuff like that, where you might not see that where you actually are. Like I feel like in Wesco, there's like no player really that has a Division I offer. Right. So then to like go out there to be in an environment where several players have a Division I offer, they might be like ranked, a lot of coaches are looking at them and just puts you up to a whole new level.
Going off like the offers and things like that, how, the Wesco maybe not get as much looks. I think that's maybe Washington as a whole, unless you're, one of those guys, like Banchero and etc. For you, have you been in talk with any, colleges or anything like that? I know it's pretty early because you still have all next year, so it's no rush or anything like that, but
I mean, there are some schools that I email, like Washington State, I emailed for basketball and they said they would email back, I believe. And then other schools like Barry University in Florida was a school that emailed me asking me to come to a camp in Florida. And like I just had to make sure that I'm like actively emailing schools and things like that. Like Treasure Valley also was there, and like I know the coach. I've trained with the coach before, so it's like already like a connection I kind of have. So that's been about it. I just gotta make sure like I have a good season in AAU. That's one that I look forward to, and then getting more exposure from there.
Yeah, another good thing to do, like you mentioned, the connections, like we've talked before, and Coach Cam as well. So make as many connections as you can is great. Don't be afraid to reach out to the smaller schools too around you. You know what I mean? And find those coaches on Twitter and things like that. Also showcase your film a lot, and you tag Evan, tag me, we'll retweet it as well. Don't be afraid to post individual clips too, instead of just like a huddle link, post like a 2-minute clip of you playing so they don't have to click on the link, they can just see it like that. I think that's another thing that can help you as well. But like I said, you have all the time in the world. You still have a whole year and a half, you know what I mean? So it's no rush at all. Evan, you have anything else or?
I blew through pretty much all I had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I have any more questions either. Is there anything you want to say, Josiah?
I'll just like this. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
No problem, man.
Yeah, best of luck next year and this summer, and we'll stay in touch, obviously, and keep us updated with how everything goes.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.